This is the famous Richard Red Payne, lion hunter from way down in Texas. You know what?
But none of these hunts are ever going to be perfect. You know, there's always going to be a little booger somewhere.
I see. You know, and these mule, a lot of these mule guys, you know, they like to jump those mules off of rocks and stuff, which is great, you know.
I've seen it, but I'm kind of scared to do it.
But I tell you what,
honest with you.
up here, I don't take a chance. I'm so far away from everybody and everything. You know, it wouldn't take much to make a heck of a mistake. And
yeah, we're too old. We don't get well as quick as we used to.
Don't bounce. Be empty.
That wasn't bad.
I've lit this thing a few times before.
You know, years ago with them old Dearborn heaters in them houses, God knows how many windows got blowed out of houses with those things. Never with me, but I got a friend of mine that they blew their windows from out of their house from letting the valve be open. You know, sitting there. I don't know what it was. The striker wouldn't strike quick enough, but you know, they blow the windows out in the room here.
It was a little propane.
Yes. Them,
wow.
The Dearborn heaters, just the volume of gas that they put out.
I remember when I was a kid, my dad and I, we'd go deer hunting when we stayed in the camper. It was an old teardrop. I think it was a teardrop camper, and it had one of those little propane lights in it. Mm-hmm. And that's what we used to heat the camper. Man, I remember, you know, I was only, you know, 9, 10 years old, and it'd be so cold. I remember Dad getting up, just lighting that lantern, what it was, a lantern really, and mounted on the wall, and then man, he'd get back in bed. But shoot, it wouldn't take 15, 20 minutes. That little lantern heat that whole camper up.
Well, you take like a little 8x8 cowboy teepees like I got, that little small one, you put a lantern in it, and that lantern will heat that tin up.
Oh yeah.
To get dressed, and I don't want all that black smoke. You know, when you first start them up,
they puff that smoke.
Yeah, that damn generator on them. They don't never work right. Them heater buddies have made me a believer. And lazy. You don't got to cut no wood. Have you ever? You said you growed up on a ranch.
Quarter horse ranch.
Quarter horse. Did y'all ever have a propane refrigerator?
No.
Do you? I've got a friend of mine that he has to use one up in Wyoming. He's got that and a generator. No electricity in his house outside of that. How many compartments did your box have? 4?
4, but you can put 4 dogs in each compartment.
Comfortably?
Comfortably. Those dogs love that dog box. It's too heavy really for, you know, but it's a.
You built that, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Done a good job with it. I got a boy down at Del Rio was supposed to build.
My idea was I wanted a box. See, my brother-in-law's on that ranch up in Nevada. And then, you know, I've always had that dream of kind of traveling around and hunting in different places. And I wanted something where I could haul all my dogs. And, you know, I still got my jump box up in the front where I used to jump those stag hounds out on coyotes. And so I built that box to go behind that jump box because I thought, well, I'll take some, you know, some trail hounds or scent hounds, and then I'll take my coyote hounds too, and I'll just go up there and stay for, you know, a couple weeks and hunt whatever I can hunt. And I've been up there, you know, I went up there and I packed in, went in. I didn't get to go into the jawbridge like I wanted to, but I went in what they call the Badlands, and I stayed in there, and then I could have gone in the jawbridge, but there was elk season was going on. There's a bunch of elk hunters, and there was an outfitter that packed some camps up there, and that jawbridge wilderness is not a very big wilderness. It's real small, and I didn't, you know, and you don't want to be a guy from New Mexico with a bunch of hounds riding through somebody's elk hunt, you know.
No.
So I hunted around there, you know, and I think that's where most of the game was back in there, because all that country is heavy migration. I mean, and like when I was down in those Badlands, there was no game in there. I mean, there just was no. I seen one old antelope. I trailed a bobcat up to where I found where bobcat killed a little cottontail rabbit. And then we trailed around. And it irritated me because I videoed the whole thing, and I erased my video card.
I hope that onion hadn't burned through that foil.
You shouldn't be that hot. Shouldn't be that hot. I know that tater ain't done.
That thing getting soft.
Not at all.
Oh, that butter will run out now if you turn it upside down.
That's what happened.
Okay.
I turned it upside down.
All right. Did you ever run into any of the Basque people up there?
Those sheep herders?
Yes, sir.
No, I didn't. I heard about them.
I've run into them up in Nevada. Those are unique people. You know, you ever seen a sheep wagon?
Yeah.
I'd love to have one.
I watched a documentary or something on them one time.
There used to be a woman in Wyoming that I met her in a funny way. We was working by Old Pal, Wyoming. And there were sheep herds, you know. But up there, driving 100 miles between towns is not unusual, you know. And anyway, make a long story short, I had a Lacey dog like old Blaze. And anyway, I'd let her hang around outside the office. Went outside the office one morning, and there was this border collie out there, Australian Shepherd. It had a tag on its neck, a cattle tag, and it was JJ. Of course, that dog belonged to someone. There wasn't nobody around there close. Anyway, I called the sheriff, and John, I forget the town. We was in Old Pal didn't have sheriff's department. Kimmer, Wyoming. He told me, he said, that's Josephine Julian's.
Josephine Julian?
Yes, one of the biggest sheep. She died a few years ago. One of the kindest ladies I ever met in my life. The nicest lady. Anyway, she's one of the biggest sheep herders. Had big herds of sheep in Idaho and had them all over Wyoming. I don't know about Utah, but anyway, she told me, she said, if you would bring my dog
Starbucks
to me.
coffee's good coffee.
She told me, she said, if you would bring my dog to me, she said, I'll make it worth your while. And I said, okay, how do I get to your ranch? She's telling me, she said, well, you go to this road and you got 22 miles down it and you turn on the dirt road another, it's like 75, 80 miles. And I finally kind of bowed a little bit. I said, hey, you got a hand that can come meet me somewhere? Because, I mean, I'm thinking how long it's going to take. Anyway, I finally did. And her home was set up like a camp. They worked on them sheep wagons. They had them Belgian horses and mules out there, and I mean lots of them.
Really?
Yes. They had a guy in there rebuilding them sheep wagons. And it's just like a little bitty travel trailer, just like there's not a 1 ounce of wasted space in it.
You know, they make a modern one now, too, that they sell.
Yeah, you
got a wood-burning stove.
They're about $35,000. They ain't cheap.
No.
And then all the inside, most of them made out of teak wood.
Really?
Which is a very,
Probably heavy, too, aren't they?
Yeah, well, they pull them around with horses and stuff. I'll tell you something.
No, I mean, they make some that are a copy of that they pull with a vehicle.
I have not seen one of them.
Yeah, I seen them. I seen it on the internet somewhere.
And they sell them. But anyway, the Basque, we were working up there, in between Rock Springs, Wyoming, and Wamsutter in the dead of wintertime, snow everywhere, cold, cold, cold. I run across some of them Basque sheep herders out there, and the coyotes was just circling, the deals. And I seen this cowboy out there, or I call it the gaucho, or whatever they call themselves.
Sheep herder.
Yeah, well, they have, usually they got 2 Belgian horses, or 2 Belgian mules, and then a couple saddle horses. And then where they park their wagon, they'll eat the grass, in that area, and then they move them. Tie the saddle horse behind the trailer and go.
Kind of nomadic.
Right. Anyway, I stopped in there and eat lunch with this, and neither one of us understood it each other, but there were a lot of grins and smiling and stuff like that. Yes, we were communicating, but we weren't talking, so to speak. And I got to where, and I had to go through there every day. And I got to where I'd stop and borrow his horse, and I had my own gun, but I'd go, riding around them sheep, shooting the coyotes.
I'll be dang.
And he would just laugh, and and.
Did they have any of those big white dogs there?
Not him. He had some Australian shepherds, but they were just small dogs. They were puppies.
Oh.
And this was kind of funny. This is that universal language. He got my attention, and of course now ranchers take those guys out there and leave them for, 6, 8, or well, not 6, 8 weeks, but they make sure they got groceries and they're taken care of. But anyway, when somebody does this right here, you know what that means. And he'd been kind to me, letting me, ride his horse and all, and he'd fed me, and then I bought him some stuff to take back out there. I just wasn't taking. And I bought him some shells, but I knew what that drinky meant. And I went to the liquor store, and they had an old grocery deal there that had all that marked down stuff in it. Some of it was lime green, some of it tangerine orange, and it was just the old stuff, I guess, that didn't sell very good. Anyway, I went to loading that stuff up on that counter, and I bought about $50 worth of hooch for him. Took it back out there. He was drunk for 3 days, and he didn't come out of that wagon. Sick. Anyway, whenever I was up there talking to him, I brought him something to eat. I forget what it was. And a rancher pulled up, and he wanted to know our association, and he wanted to know about the liquor. And I thought, I ain't got nothing to lose. Hell, everybody likes a beer or a drink. So I told him. He said, no more liquor. But he said, you can hunt anywhere you want out here on this place. He said, you kill every coyote you see, but don't you ever bring one of my hands any more alcohol. And but I don't know. We ended up being friends. And the bass and I'm sure if I went back up there, the bass may be gone. My understanding was they come to this country. They don't make a whole lot of money, but they have no expenses. And when they go back to wherever they're a gypsy type people. I don't know the country they come from, but I know you won't go hungry around them.
They feed good.
Oh,
huh?
God, yes. And they work hard. You don't see no fat ones, but you see a lot of bass restaurants.
Well, we've got
in
some
Nevada.
We got some Basques. They come from their Basques that are ranchers. And they have you can tell them they usually have kind of a
dark complected,
and the salt and pepper hair.
Right.
And there's some guys who rope really good up north that are Basques.
I had a halter that this guy made. He made me a halter out of hay string. I could come off a bale of alfalfa. And I had it for years. I don't know if the rats got it or what, but they're good with their hands,
Handy.
and stuff like that. Yeah, handy.
I remember years ago, there was a guy that was a pretty famous mule deer hunter. And he said and he had a lot of record book mule deer. And I can't remember, but I know that he said he used to go out and hang out with those Basque sheep herders because they knew where they'd see
where the deer was.
The muy grande venados, the big deer, And I remember reading that or something. That's before the internet.
You go out of Vernal. I think it's Vernal, Utah, going toward Rock Springs. You see something, it's a different kind of country, but it's beautiful like this is here.
Yeah.
You'll see them big herds of sheep out there and in them wagons. And, they just live a different life. A real simple life. Work, eat, get up, go to bed. They're not arguing over a cable bill or whatever.
Something I've never wanted to do is, I always joke, say, guy goes to work on Monday morning and works till Friday afternoon, buys him a 12-pack, goes home, drinks his beer, watches the TV, mows his yard on Saturday, goes plays a round of golf on Sunday, and then starts all over again.
I've never played a round of golf.
I like golf, but
you do?
Yeah, I love to play golf.
I've never played it.
But it's not something I can, when I worked in Junction, Kansas, and I was there for so long, and we were working on Fort Riley base.
There ain't much to do in Kansas.
No, and they wouldn't let us work. We worked from like 7:30 to 4:30, and they wouldn't let us work Saturday or Sunday or late or anything like that in those motor pools. And there was a public golf course back there behind the motel, and I got to playing golf. And I mean, you know how I am. I bought magazines and books, and when I didn't have time to pay, most of the time in the evening it'd get dark early in the winter time. I'd go out there and I could probably get 9 holes in, but then I'd go out and hit a bucket of balls. And when I got done at Fort Riley, and came back home, I had a subscription to a golf magazine, you know, and I got in, and I was going to go, and I went and hit some, you know, I'd hit a bucket of balls here and there, and then finally, and I was roping at the same time too, and I told my wife, I said, you know, I just can't get into something else. I mean, it's not
enough time.
No, and I'm not the type of person that can just kind of go in half-hearted, you know. I gotta bail in. So I gave it up.
It's just in your, you know, you have that drive to succeed, need to succeed. I don't know what it is. And
I don't know what it is either.
That's good.
I wish I had that drive sometimes to make money, but I don't.
Well, I think you've done well. You know,
I've got by, you know.
above.
I've done good. I paid my way, you know. But
At the end of the day, or you know, when you come to the end of your life, you know, if you've raised your kids proper, you know, you know, we all leave a legacy of some sort. And, you know, I told you I've been married several times. I was never a good husband until the one I got now.
took you a long time to get it right.
It took a long time to mature.
Oh man, I tell you what, I don't know why Tammy stayed with me there for a while.
You know, people talk about fighting and arguing. We've all known couples who fight and argue, throw things at each other. Me and my wife, I can't say that we've never had a scuffle. I mean, no, not a scuffle. A highly charged discussion.
Screaming fight?
Yeah, verbally. But you know what? We've been together, and I guess it's you learn to respect each other more. You're more thoughtful of their feelings. You don't want, you know, I have you know.
Dang, Red, you haven't been gone that long. You're already starting to get homesick.
No, I'm not homesick. I'm always homesick. I always think about that.
Yeah.
But wouldn't be fair to her if I didn't, you know. But, you know, she's good enough. When I come in, I spend a few days with her and leave again. I bet you last year, I bet you in 2006, 15, 16, 17, all 3 of them years. 3 years is 1,000 days. I bet I wasn't home over, I'd say, 40, 50 days a year at the most.
You have to go home,
and that's not much.
you have to go home and kick Sancho out of the house. You know who Sancho is?
Oh yeah.
He's the guy that takes care of your wife when you're gone.
Yeah. Oh, we kid about that. There's a boy. There's a guy kind of like your Danny. I used to use around, you know, doing odd jobs around the house, and he got old and retired. And this is a funny thing. And Shirley got awful. You know, she didn't think it was near as funny as I did. But anyway, this boy's name, I'm not going to say his name. We're just going to say John. I said, John, and he's from Massachusetts and had that accent.
That Yankee accent?
Yes. I said, John, I tell you what I'm going to do. If something happens that I up and die, you can't finish taking care of Shirley, I want you to have her. She's yours. And he comes back, and Shirley's sitting there, and her head come up like that. And he says, well, I'll tell you, and it was funny. Well, I'm going to tell you one thing right now. Them darn dogs got to go. I'm not having them damn dogs around the house. And, you know, as soon as he got up and left, Shirley, don't you ever do that to me again. But he thought, I mean, you know, it was comical. But I mean, for 3 or 4 or 5 months, every time he come around, it was, Shirley, I ain't forgot you. Red, I'll take good care of her. Life brings us lots of things to laugh about. You know, me and Shirley, we don't argue no more. You know, we kid each other. Nothing ever gets so serious that it becomes an argument.
Mm-hmm.
But we've been very blessed. Have a nice home, you know, and I've got a good job. And she's took care of her daddy till he died. Now she's taking care of my mama. And that's not an obligation to her.
Yeah.
But she does it because I'm out of town and does a very good job of it. And I'm very thankful for it. My mother's very thankful for it. But she gets up once a week, at least once, sometimes 2. Goes up there, takes my mother to the doctor, takes her to the beauty shop, goes shopping for her. There's no, they don't make people like that no more.
No.
Nobody has time to do stuff like that.
My wife's like that. She takes care of everybody.
Yes, you know.
I mean, everybody she takes care of. That's
Well, it's just a quality that I think has been bred out of this generation of kids now. Now they're a me people. They don't have time for other folks. You know, another thing I see about the young kids now, they don't have the dedication that it takes to sit back and save their money and go buy something.
no. They want, well, it's a
Demand world.
Well, it's instant gratification. If they have an idea,
right.
they want something. Here's this credit card. We're going to go get it. And I don't know.
What was your first gun you ever bought? Then I'll tell you the story about mine.
That 30-30 I'm carrying on my saddle. My dad bought that for me when I was 10 years old, and I've carried it ever since. I got a 243 model 88 with the solid stock and a lever action.
Mm-hmm.
I got one of those, and now he had a guy that owed him some money, and he took it in as collateral, and then that guy ended up getting killed. And I got that 243, and then my ex-wife bought me that Ruger 1022 that I got, and then I bought my grandson one just like it. I had a 12 gauge, an old cheap 12 gauge shotgun too that I bought it at a pawn shop, and that was the shootingest son of a gun. And my brother-in-law, when he used to live down here, him and I hunted everything. We hunt quail, dove, everything, you know, and deer. I mean, everything except lions.
Outdoorsy as you could be.
Huh?
Your home was outdoors.
Oh yeah, we were always outside doing something.
Me too.
And he used to use that shotgun. He fell in love with that, and it was the ugliest thing. It was like red colored and just cheap. And I think it was one of those old Sears and Roebuck or
Western
whatever.
Field or
yeah, something like that.
Board, something.
And I gave it to him. I said, no. I said, you love that thing, you shoot it. I said, it's yours. It only cost me like $80 at the pawn shop.
My first gun that I bought. Now I'd shot my grandpa's, uncles, all of that kind, you know. And but the first one I bought, I was probably 12 years old. And we used to have. Do y'all have the old Gibson stores? Did y'all ever have them?
We had a Gibson's. Yeah.
Anyway,
they're in Las Cruces.
There was a family took me bird hunting down to South Texas, and the old man let me use the 870 Wingmaster 20 gauge. And I said, when I got back, I had to have one. Maybe not right then, because that was September. But I know the next spring, and I was always mowing grass, raking leaves, you know, painting, whatever I could do to make money. Mm-hmm. And I told my mother, I said, and I was at Mama's then, I said, I want one of them 870 shotguns. And she said, well, if you can, and they run them on sale for like $49. Now we're talking about the early 70s, 71, 72, right along in there, 1971, 72. Anyway, we go up there, I put $5 down on it on layaway, and I'd mow grass. And we'd go back up there on Saturday mornings, and I'd pay a little bit more down on it, and I finally got it out by bird season. And I wish I could turn back time, but I got married pretty young, and I sold that shotgun to buy some wedding rings. Hell, you know, but I remember it like it was yesterday, and I wish I had the shotgun back. I'd give $1,000 for that same gun right now to have it back, just to give it to somebody whenever my time comes.
My dad used to have a 22, a pump 22 with a hammer and an octagon barrel.
Right.
And somebody stole it.
Oh gosh.
He had a 270 also. I don't know what model it was, but I remember when I was a little kid him being real upset about that.
Well, certainly.
But that 22, I remember that was the first gun I ever shot.
Mm-hmm.
He took me out. We used to haul our trash to the dump. This is when we lived in Corrales, which was north of Albuquerque.
Yeah, that's up there like going to Bernalillo.
Yeah, it's right on the river. Well, they say it's between Bernalillo and Paradise Hills on a crooked old road by the river.
Do you know an old guy, and I can't tell you his last name, I may have his card in the truck, Wild Horse Harry. He's a horseshoer, but he also has, he teaches people to drive six-up wagons.
Oh, really?
Yeah, goes up there and to Canada, you know, for the Calgary thing up there, and that's his life doing that. And then he has a bunch of wagons and carriages, like does weddings, and I was going to call him the other day when I was in Albuquerque, and I just didn't do it. Me and him got to be pretty good friends, but
We better get those stakes on there.
yeah. But that's his nickname on his card,
Wild Horse Harry. Now that is a cooking coals right there, buddy.
Yes, it is. We done this last year. I was sick as a dog.
Did we cook on the fire?
Yes, sir, we did.
What, did I cook some steaks or?
Yeah, and Dog and Peter.
Oh, they probably had some stuff.
Remember that night we was out here and that wind going about 50 miles an hour? God almighty. I was sick.
Whew. I don't know. I've cooked out here quite a bit over the.
Well, it wouldn't have been bad if it wasn't for the wind.
Good looking steaks. Where'd you buy them at?
Oh, Walmart. I wish
Woo,
I found a
Wally
meat
World.
market. I hate to advertise for this thing.
Looks pretty larping, doesn't it?
Reckon the mules are tired this evening?
I think everything's tired.
Yep.
I mean, I've drug in, you know, got back here at midnight and still had dogs out trying to get over that ridge, back off over there.
That's dangerous.
Yeah, and then you get back here at midnight and just think I'm about to die, you know. You open up a little thing of peanut butter and just eat it with a spoon and go to bed, and
That's what I done last night.
get up early the next morning and think, gosh almighty, I got to go out there and try to find those dogs. But after I get down that trail a little ways, I usually feel pretty good, you know.
What's the coldest that you know it's ever been here?
Oh, it's, you know, it gets below zero. I mean, the biggest problem with this country is,
Sun don't hit it very often.
well, in this canyon, you know, but the biggest problem is you dress in the morning for cold. You know how it was cold this morning.
Right.
Well, I checked that as 22 degrees, I think, this morning, and then it got a little colder. But then in the afternoon,
It's up to 60.
you're burning up. So you sit there and
It's hard to dress for.
yeah, exactly. So you're freezing in the morning. You got all this stuff on. By the afternoon, you got stuff hanging all over your saddle.
Right.
You know, and trying to stay cool, and the dogs are burned up.
Worst thing you can ever do, start sweating. That to me is that, you know, to me. Then I freeze to death, you know, just a break, and then you're getting sick.
Well, that's what happens. Well, if you have to lay out at night, or if you're, you know, and you get a sweat and you get, you know, your clothes wet or whatever from sweat, and then you freeze that night, you know. I wear wool, you know.
I've heard people say this. I can say I've never experienced it because when I'm cold and cold, they say wool's still warm when it's wet.
Wool retains its insulation value when it's wet. Also, you know, bacteria doesn't grow as fast in wool, so you don't get stinky. You know, when we pack, you know, everything I got just about, except I wear these Carhartts on top.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something about Carhartts. They are terrible in a rainstorm.
Yes, they
because
are. They absorb all the water.
And then they weigh about 500 pounds.
I believe we earned this meal today.
Too bad we don't have some back straps off a lion to cook.
I've got all kind of back strap in my freezer.
Brent.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you in the morning.
Thank you for the steaks. That was excellent.
Well, that's my pleasure.
Tomorrow morning, come on by. I'll have some coffee.